Tonight we take a look at news surrounding the Auburn campus, how a school district in Arkansas saved over $300,000 by making a few simple changes, and some major updates to the war against COVID-19. This is Eagle Eye News at 6. Good evening and welcome. I'm Samantha Avila.
And I'm Jack Greenwald.
Tonight we begin with severe storms that ravaged parts of Alabama Wednesday afternoon and went into Thursday morning. There were a total of 19 reported tornadoes in Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Autauga, Hale, and Greene counties. Tuscaloosa was hit with the first tornado that touched down on the eastern side of town. The following is footage of the Tuscaloosa tornado and damages that the severe storms caused. This was the first time since 2012 that Alabama was under a high risk for severe weather from the National Weather Service.
Lee County has now reached a total of 8,504 confirmed and 6,727 probable cases of COVID-19. The county has also reported 101 confirmed and 62 probable deaths. The state of Alabama has reported 1,320,774 administered doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, with 836,948 Alabamians receiving one or more doses.
Auburn University announced dining has updates for the fall 2021 semester. Beginning this fall, a new dining hall titled The Edge at Central Dining will open and offer a variety of meal options for students in the campus community. The 48,000 square foot, 800-seat dining hall will be located next to Parker Hall and the campus green, operating 7 days a week. The dining facility will feature 9 individual food stations, including an allergen station, deli and fresh produce market, 2 different grill stations, and a salad bar that features produce grown on campus. Auburn University also announced updates to meal plans taking effect in the fall 2021 semester. Changes include a $25 increase to the off-campus default dining plan and a $200 increase to the on-campus default dining plan.
Auburn University Student Involvement announced the Big Event 2021 would be taking place Saturday, March 27th. The Big Event is a one-day student-led service project sponsored by Auburn University's Office of Student Involvement. Since its beginning in 2003, the program has served an opportunity for Auburn students to give back to the Auburn and Opelika communities by performing basic community service tasks for households, businesses, churches, and organizations as a way of saying thank you for making Auburn such a great community. Volunteer sign-up is still open at the Big Event's website, bigevent.auburn.edu.
An Auburn University research team presented new methods of drought forecasting to advance early warning efforts for agricultural and natural ecosystems. Sanjeev Kumar, an assistant professor in the Auburn School of Forestry and Wildlife Sciences, co-authored a breakthrough study on drought forecasting published last week. Kumar said that these new findings will benefit agricultural and water resources as well as wildfire planning to mitigate the impacts of drought on society. This should lessen economic losses and the stress to the productivity of ecosystems. The next step of this research, according to Kumar and his collaborators, is to apply the principles of these discoveries to develop tools to forecast soil moisture at local scales where it can directly benefit users in agricultural planning. When we come back, an Alabama official announced the expansion of vaccine eligibility, and an Alabama man is back home after a rare recovery. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. You've probably heard the term herd immunity a lot during this pandemic. When it comes to COVID-19, it means the time when a large enough portion of a population becomes immune to the virus, making the spread from person to person unlikely. Now some top health experts are putting a timeline on when the U.S. might reach that point.
When more Americans get vaccinated, it's less likely COVID-19 will spread. The U.S. could hit herd immunity by this summer through vaccination alone.
If you look at the planned rollout of the vaccines, that we would hopefully get to that point somewhere by the end of the summer and the early fall.
According to the latest numbers, we still have a ways to go. Herd immunity thresholds for COVID-19 are only estimates at this point, but experts generally agree that somewhere between 70% and 85% of the population must be protected to suppress the spread. Getting there before next winter will be key.
If we can get to 80% population immunity by the end of the summer, then we won't see a surge next winter, because this is basically a winter respiratory virus, and it'll be back unless we have a significant percentage of the population vaccinated.
When the weather gets warmer, health experts say that will also help.
If you look at what happened last summer, when 100% of the population was susceptible and we didn't have a vaccine, still those numbers came down and then surged again in the winter.
But it all hinges on Americans getting their COVID-19 vaccinations.
If a significant number of people do not get vaccinated, then that would delay where we would get to that endpoint.
An Alabama health official announced Friday that the state of Alabama would begin expanding vaccination eligibility on March 22nd.
Alabama is going to expand its eligibility for COVID-19 vaccination beginning March 22nd, so that'll be a week from Monday. At that time, Alabama is going to include all persons in Phase 1C. We're also going to include all persons aged 55 and up. We're specifically going to add not only the high-risk medical conditions that we reported to you before, but we are going to categorically include people with intellectual and developmental disabilities as well within that category.
Police in Birmingham, Alabama don't know what led to an accident that left a driver dead. Officers responded to reports of a vehicle crashing into a home early last Friday morning. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. Police searched the home and did not find anyone inside. No other injuries have been reported in the incident, and an investigation is currently underway.
After 5 months of battling COVID-19 in the hospital, an Alabama man is back at home with his family. Doctors say his type of recovery is rare and he still faces an uphill battle, but he's glad to be released. Byron Khalil has more on the warm welcome from his community.
Just happy for him to be home.
Sarita Clements had no idea that when she and her husband Danny contracted COVID-19, he would spend the next 5 months fighting for his life.
He was in Princeton, stayed there for about probably 3 months, went to Anniston to a rehab, was on ECMO, dialysis, vent, trach, everything you can think of. Was stayed at Anniston just a little bit, back to Princeton because he went septic, stayed at Princeton.
69-year-old Danny Clements spent time at 2 other medical facilities before recovering. Doctors told the family a recovery like this doesn't happen often.
They say it just don't happen, Rarely ever happens, from what he has been through.
The Carbon Hill community had a special welcome home event prepared for Danny.
We feel honored as a town to be able to have a COVID patient to return back home.
Some holding signs with supportive messages.
Every day he's gotten better and better, but he's just, if he could talk to you and tell you right now, he's ecstatic right now. Just to be home, that's what he has prayed for, is to be home.
Auburn Parks and Recreation announced that the first ever excellent Easter scavenger hunt will begin Saturday, March 27th and end Wednesday, March 31st. Clues will be posted on the City of Auburn Facebook and Instagram pages each morning of the scavenger hunt, leading participants to an Easter egg in one of the Auburn parks. Participants will then use their phone to scan a QR code on the Easter egg that will lead them to the next clue. Those that find all the clues within the park will be prompted to enter their name into a drawing for one of 5 prizes. Each day of participation means another entry into the drawing. The 5 lucky hunters that are chosen from the drawing will win a $25 gift card to a local business. Winners will be drawn randomly on Thursday, April 1st. More information can be found at auburnalabama.org/parks. When we come back, Moderna is looking into the eligibility of children to receive the COVID-19 vaccination, and a school district in Arkansas saved a lot of money with a simple solution. You're watching Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. American health officials plead with the public to continue following COVID guidelines despite COVID numbers trending downward. And the CDC has begun reviewing social distancing guidelines in hopes of being able to reopen schools safely. Mandy Gaither has the latest on the war against COVID-19.
In just about every state, the more contagious coronavirus variant first identified in the UK has been found. It's still projected to become the dominant variant in the U.S. by the end of this month or early April.
In some states, Florida and California, it's up to 25%. In other states, it's lower.
With travel hitting a pandemic record over the weekend, top U.S. health officials fear a potential spike in COVID-19 cases.
We have seen footage of people enjoying spring break festivities maskless. This is all in the context of still 50,000 cases per day. I'm pleading with you for the sake of our nation's health. These should be warning signs for all of us. Cases climbed last spring, they climbed again in the summer. They will climb now if we stop taking precautions when we continue to get more and more people vaccinated.
Meanwhile, the CDC is reviewing new data on physical distancing after a study published in the journal Clinical Infectious Diseases showed similar infection rates for mask-wearing students and staff at Massachusetts public schools at 6 feet and 3 feet of physical distancing.
The question actually prompted more studies to be done, so we know more are forthcoming. We're taking all of those data carefully and revisiting our guidances in that context.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
More than 2 months after the violent attack on the U.S. Capitol, 2 men are facing assault charges after the FBI says they sprayed Capitol police officers in the face with some kind of toxic chemical agent. One of those officers, Brian Sicknick, died the next day. Britt Conway has a look at what's next in this case, including the possibility of upgraded charges.
January 6th, hundreds of rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol. Prosecutors say among them, 32-year-old Julian Ellie Cater and 39-year-old George Pierre Tanios. They're each facing 9 counts for what investigators say happened that day.
It's clear that it took a long time for law enforcement to get to this point.
The Brian Sicknick case has been a priority for investigators. According to a criminal complaint, the men were, quote, working together to assault law enforcement officers with an unknown chemical substance by spraying officers directly in the face and eyes. One of those 3 officers was Sicknick. Police say he went back to a command center and collapsed. He died the next day. Cater and Tanios faced judges on Monday. Cater's attorney says he plans to plead not guilty. Tanios will have a hearing Thursday on whether he'll stay in jail before trial. Prosecutors say they worry he could run or obstruct justice if he's let out, and that he's a danger to the community. Right now, they're charged with assault, not murder. Investigators didn't say in the complaint whether the exposure to the spray directly caused Sicknick's death.
They are keenly focused on trying to find the right evidence to fully understand how he lost his life. What was that, singular moment? We may not get to that.
And if they can't, prosecutors still have a powerful tool to make their case.
You are also going to have 2 officers who are going to say, I was sprayed in the face with a chemical substance.
I'm Britt Conway, reporting.
As the percentage of the adult population fully vaccinated continues to increase, children eligible to receive the vaccination due to insufficient data are feeling left behind. That, however, may be about to change.
The first children have gotten Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. It's part of the pharmaceutical company's pediatric clinical trial. About 6,700 children in the U.S. and Canada between the ages of 6 months and 11 years old are participating. They're getting 2 doses of the vaccine spaced out by about 28 days. As the trial continues, some children will be getting a placebo. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorized emergency use of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccination for adults in December.
A school district in Arkansas is giving its teachers significant raises thanks to an unlikely ally. Solar power. 4 years ago, this district in Batesville, Arkansas was much below average in teacher salaries and lower than other districts in their county. This has no way to retain staff long-term, so the district began to look at ways to cut costs, starting with utilities. At the time, over $500,000 were being spent on utilities, something the district turned to eco-friendly technology to lower. Batesville School District installed thousands of LED lights, replaced windows and HVAC units, improved insulation, and for the first time in Arkansas school district history, invested in solar panels. The newly installed 1,500 solar panels now generate approximately half of the district's electricity. In total, the solar power and energy efficient improvements are saving the district over $300,000 annually. Combined with other methods of cutting costs and state funding, the most important members of the district's operations are getting a much needed raise, the teachers.
When we return, an Alabama couple was reunited after a year apart, and we have our pet of the week.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Jenny Jordan here with your update on everything in Auburn sports. The Brian Harsin era of Auburn football has officially started as spring practice began Monday afternoon. The team practiced on Monday and Wednesday and will practice again Saturday. Coach Harsin is doing something new this season as they are opening practice on Saturday to the public. Fans can get an inside look into this year's Auburn Tiger team from Jordan Hare starting at 11 a.m. Gates will open at 11 and practice will start at 11:30. Masks must be worn and social distancing will be required. The coaching staff has been with the players in the weight room during the offseason, getting them ready for the spring practice. Coach Harsin believes that their mentality in the weight room and the practice field will dictate how they play. Harsin praised a number of players for their leadership in the offseason, including Tank Bigsby, Bo Nix, Zacoby McClain, and Owen Popo.
This is the first time for this staff, this team to be together in a real football setting, and so I hope everybody comes out there and puts their best foot forward, and we have a really focused day. We have a day where our effort is high and we get a lot done. A lot of us that were a part of teams last year didn't get a spring. And I mentioned this before, but I think spring practices are the most vital practices you can have. Because you have a chance to really just slow it down if you need to, speed it up if you want to. You have an opportunity to just really develop your team in whatever way necessary because you don't have a deadline. You don't have a game at the end of it, right? You can go back and reinstall something. Just being around that quarterback group, right? I think Coach Bobo's done a great job with those guys, and obviously get a chance to be around the quarterback room. I enjoy that, and I enjoy just watching these guys, how they prepare themselves, what their demeanor is in the weight room and on the field, and how they operate. If we can get that down and feel good about what we're doing at the quarterback position, I think our operation as a whole can improve on the offensive side. So, going out there, there'll be a pecking order in practice, right? There always is. I wouldn't say that we necessarily have a depth chart set. We have a pecking order. Bo will go out there first. Grant will be out there. All right. That will get mixed as we go through practices. Guys will get their shot to run with the ones and twos or whatever we consider the ones and twos at the time. Really with the O-line, I mean, you're trying to look at your best five, right? And we're not at our best five right now. We're going to see with the amount of players that we have at the O-line position, but we'll be on the same field. The way we practice, in my opinion, is extremely important. We want to keep our guys up. There's different tempos in our practices. There's tempos of where we're always getting to the ball carrier. That will never change. So that always is going to be something we emphasize with our defense. We're always getting to the ball carrier. It's just how we finish on them. But what I want to do early on, and what we've talked about as a staff, is just establish our habits in practice. Right, how we get to the football, how we get off from the sideline to the field, how do we transition from drill to drill, and really making sure that the expectations of how we practice get installed as much as our systems. Every coach and every player in America right now is as happy as can be to go out there and compete and get these practices in. And I know everybody's keeping their fingers crossed that we stay healthy, all right, our community stay healthy, we continue to go on an upward trend, all right, in our country, with COVID and everybody getting back to some normalcy, and that doesn't include, all right, practice and football and springtime and all that for programs, and that's the goal. We're going to have a chance to go out there and compete and see a lot of things, and I think we'll leave that field, everybody, I hopefully enthusiastic about just being out there and getting a chance to do this, and with a lot of information too.
Auburn women's basketball star Unique Thompson announced Tuesday afternoon she is declaring for the 2021 WNBA draft. Thompson had a very impressive career at Auburn. Thompson led the SEC and ranked third in the nation with 12.9 rebounds per game. She also led Auburn with 17.8 points and 2.4 steals per game. Thompson is the SEC's active career leader in rebounds and steals and is fourth among active players in scoring. She leaves Auburn as the program's all-time leader in rebounds, rebounding average, and double-doubles, and she is in the top 10 in field goal percentage, scoring average, and field goals made. Thompson broke the school's rebounding record with her 1,119th in the Tigers game at Mississippi State on February 23rd. She had 15 double-doubles this season and 57 in her career. Thompson spent all 4 years of her eligibility at Auburn, and in her announcement, Auburn was her home. In the world of softball, the Tigers will kick off the War Eagle battle in Jane B. Moore Field this weekend. Game 1 on Saturday will be against Kennesaw at 1 p.m. Central Time, and then Game 2 will be against number 13 ranked Florida State at 4 p.m. On Sunday, Auburn will play Florida State and Kennesaw again, but in reverse order. The Tiger versus Seminole matchup will start at 1 p.m. and the weekend will end with Auburn taking on Kennesaw at 4 p.m. All 4 contents will be available on SEC Network Plus. Baseball has also had a packed weekend as they kick off the SEC play in Oxford this weekend. The Tigers will play a 3-game series with Game 1 kicking off Friday night at 6:30. Game 2 will be at 1:30 on Saturday with the series concluding on Sunday, with the first pitch being at 1:30. All 3 games will be on SEC Network Plus. That is all we have for sports tonight, but for more Auburn sports, follow our Twitter at EagleEyeTV_sports and check out our website at eagleeyeauburn.com.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. One dog in Wisconsin may have dashed the dreams of dogs everywhere, wishing they could get behind the wheel of a car. Police in Wisconsin say a dog drove her owner's car right into a building. Aisha Morales reports.
It was just another day at work for Megan Lundahl, owner of the Pearl of Door County in Sturgeon Bay, when suddenly
was facing this way and boom, a Jeep just bam right into the window, right into the root chakra.
Turns out the perpetrator is 5-year-old Callie, an Australian Shepherd, who, according to Sturgeon Bay Police, was waiting at this gas station for her owner, who was inside a local bakery. But Callie had plans of her own.
With bad cellular service, I said, wait a minute, I think you said a dog drove into the building. And she said, no, you heard it right. So, of course, 1,000 jokes happen, like, boy, is his rates going up, or, you know, did he have any prior convictions?
A bit of a crazy start to the day, but no humans or dogs were hurt. Despite structural damage done to the inside of the building, everyone remains positive about the situation.
Unconfirmed reports say Callie may have been making her way next door to this Door County dog store. When officers responded to the scene and they got there, Callie was already in the passenger seat, maybe to avoid suspicion.
Sturgeon Bay Police say no paw prints were taken, but Callie, with a face that says, "Forgive me," now has a suspended doggy license. Callie's owner says she may have bumped the shifter into drive. He's just glad everyone is okay. As a dog lover herself, Megan laughs it off, also grateful knowing it could have been worse.
I have a shop dog that's with me often, Carmen, and I told her that if she's going to invite her friends over, just to have them use the front door.
At one point during the pandemic, if your loved one had COVID-19, you couldn't visit them in the hospital or the nursing home. One Alabama man remembers being forced to visit his wife through a screen at a nursing home in Montgomery, Alabama. Brian Henry caught up with him 1 year later.
Hey, honey, it's John.
Somehow, some way, love found a way.
I've got the joy.
John Klein visited his wife for the 3rd time in less than a week, another in-person visit since the rules have been relaxed a bit.
I love you.
How sweet it was for Klein, 12 months worth of window visits and FaceTime just weren't the same.
But this is so much better.
It was 1 year ago when we captured Klein standing at the screen at John Knox Manor and sang one of their favorite songs.
On a hill. Well, it's exciting because some songs she still remembers to stay.
All this not knowing whether his bride would contract the COVID virus on top of her Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, yes. Sometimes I'd get a little sad, of course, and I'd cry about things.
The nursing home ended up getting less than 20 positive cases by December, and Klein was not among them. It was Terry Howell who came up with the novel idea of screen visits.
There was guidance out there that said that we needed to figure out a way to make it happen.
During their year apart, John Klein got a little down, but never depressed. He always felt he would see his wife of more than 40 years once again. And so, here we are.
Then I could see it was going to take a while.
Anne Klein has battled Alzheimer's for 18 years. John Klein feels as though she recognizes him at times, especially when he sings to her.
Amazing.
Reunited, face to face.
I love you, John.
Again. In Montgomery, Brian Henry, WSFA 12 News.
I'll never stop.
Today is the day to gas up your diesel tractors, lawnmowers, cars, trucks, or SUVs with some alternative fuel. That's because Thursday is National Biodiesel Day. The annual day is celebrated each year on the birthday of Rudolf Diesel, the inventor of the diesel engine. The creation used by millions every single day was unveiled at the World Fair way back in 1900. The original was designed to run on peanut oil. Biodiesel can be made from vegetable oil, recycled cooking oil, or animal fat, and it burns cleaner than petroleum-based diesel fuel. You can post to social media today with the hashtag National Biodiesel Day.
Who said you can teach an old dog new tricks? Our new pet of the week, Dyson, begs to differ. This beautiful pup has had a tough time finding a new family to call his own and would love nothing more than a warm bed to sleep in every night. He's been in our care for over 240 days, just waiting for his new humans to walk through the door to meet him. Dyson has been learning all kinds of tricks over the past few weeks, and he can't wait to show them off to you. Dyson is 8 years old, but still a puppy at heart, neutered, vaccinated, and microchipped. He has also been heartworm treated and is ready to go home with you today for $25. You can apply for him online today.
We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Samantha Avila.
And I'm Jack Greenwald. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.